One, I am Claire Jones, owner of Liminal Clarity. I am a productivity expert and change guide for growth for high-achieving women, executives, entrepreneurs, visionaries who are going through times of change, stress, and/or transformation. So I am jumping on today, coming to you live from Cincinnati. It is my hometown. I am at home on a vacation visiting my mom right now and my dad, and this is currently my mom's art studio, so that's why we have a slightly different setting for today. But I wanted to finish out this Facebook Live series. And so today I'm going to be jumping on to talk about the how to set internal company expectations in order to efficiently streamline your time, money, and energy as a busy entrepreneur. So if you're catching me live or if you're watching the replay, say hello, comment, tell us where you're tuning in from, and what your most pressing delegation need is. We all need to delegate as busy entrepreneurs and business owners and executives. So what do you need to delegate next is the question. But before I get into the nitty-gritty, I wanted to include a caveat here. I have had 15 plus years of small business experience and started my own entrepreneurial journey back in 2014. And every single week I get questions from my audiences and networks asking me for advice on softwares, systems, and strategies. And I am more than happy to point them in the right direction. But this is a very big but here. Whatever systems, strategies, and softwares you choose to use in your business are only going to be as effective as the internal personal development work that you choose to use as well in your own life. Because at the end of the day, personal development is professional development, and that's what I'm here for. So if you're interested in chatting more about this, please book a call with me. I'll put the link in the comments here. If you're catching this on YouTube, it will be in the description. But let's talk about how did I first learn the importance of delegation. So I once worked with an operations manager who often needed to know all of the details, wanted to be the decider, had difficulties delegating tasks, was suspicious of staff members, and often reacted alarmingly to their inter-team collaborations that happened without her prior approval. And she basically became a bottleneck to everything that we did. And the problem was that she often acted as this bottleneck because since she wanted to approve every action that the team members made, she was overwhelmed, harried, and frustrated. And she took it out on the company founder and the employees. She half-heartedly took a vacation once per year, and even then she was still micromanaging the day-to-day operations from afar because she didn't have faith in the team members' ability to function successfully without her. That's not how you grow and scale a business, at least sustainably. Because what happens when the team grows to a size where she can't feasibly manage them all? What happens when she inevitably burns out or injures herself? We call this the bus factor. So what happens when a key person, software, or process or system gets hit by a bus and they are out of commission? The term was first applied to software development, where a team member might create a critical component of a certain code that performs well, but that is also unavailable to other team members. So thus that key component would be effectively lost as a direct consequence of the absence of that team member, making that team member very key to the successful operation of the business. If this component was key to the project's advancement, to the business's advancement, then the project or the business would stall. So this boils down to the concept of diversification and not putting all of your eggs in one basket. And that includes your basket. So this applies to marketing methods. For example, you don't want to put all of your marketing eggs in one basket, one marketing platform basket, because what happens when that platform disappears? I mean, we all remember that infamous day where Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp all went down the same day. So you don't want to put all of your eggs in one platform's basket. And the same applies to task responsibility and business management in general. We want to document as many processes, procedures, systems, and tasks as possible so that the information is still available when and if key people and softwares run into problems. So is this calling to you? I'm sure there are a lot of you out there. That's why I'm opening up some spaces to the women go-getters out there who want to have more fun and less stress while achieving their big goals and chat more about life and business and all that it entails. So book a call with me. The link is in the comments if you're interested. So I'm going to start with the big picture here as we're talking about internal expectations, which is overarching company structure. So this is going to be entirely dependent on how many people or softwares are involved in running your business. If you are a solopreneur, it is still important to set this up because you are going to want to start delegating or automating tasks at some point, probably sooner rather than later. So I recommend setting this up. To start, you'll probably be putting your name in each position title, but this gives you a great picture of the various categories of tasks and how they can be divided up. If you are already using some people or softwares that you work with, start filling out the position titles accordingly. For example, you might want to include your bookkeeper. You might want to include your social media management software, your VA, basically anyone or anything that you are relying on for recurring tasks. So this is called a organizational chart. This is called a company structure. This is basically the categories of tasks that are happening on a recurring basis inside your business. So you can make this chart in a variety of programs: spreadsheets, PowerPoints, Canva, Google Docs, Word docs, paper and pen, anything really. Some people call this an organizational chart, but it's just a visual representation of your company's positions and their relationships to one another. So it's really going to provide you with a clear picture of what categories of tasks are needed in the company, which people or softwares are responsible for them, and how each of the positions or tech programs communicate with one another in order to achieve company-wide goals. So remember that these positions are going to change based on your specific business model. If you map this out sooner rather than later, you will get a clear picture of what positions you may need to hire for, what software applications you may need to implement, who reports to whom, and how tasks are distributed across roles. So once you set these overarching structures up, then you can easily translate them into task responsibilities. So you can use a variety of applications for this. This is basically where we're going into software options. Going off of what we covered in the client journey, the customer experience Facebook Live that I did last week, where we talked about project management, what specific actions need to be taken by each position on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, or yearly basis, and how those actions are going to be tracked. So there are project management softwares like Trello, Basecamp, Asana, Monday.com, but you can also use simple Google Docs or Word docs that are shared on a common platform like Google Drive, OneDrive, or Dropbox. I personally like to use Google Docs because that's where I host all of my business files, but you need to find a system that works for you and your staff members and your team members. Prioritize user experience here because you don't want to waste time and money setting up a system that your team isn't going to use in the first place. So you need to make sure that the system is accessible and easy to use for everyone involved. The overarching goal here is to document who is responsible for which tasks, when those tasks should be done, and how they are going to be kept accountable to those tasks. No matter what you decide to host the system on, they are meant to be living, breathing documents that are routinely updated when things change, because things always change. That is why I do what I do, because change is constant. So I recommend that you set up quarterly check-ins with each team member to go over their responsibilities and positions to make sure that everyone is still on the same page. Most companies do yearly reviews, but I actually recommend setting up more frequent scheduled reviews because you are better able to adjust or redirect quickly when things are caught early on. So this leads me into a brief discussion of delegation techniques. So the key to effective delegation is clearly setting expectations up front and then consistently checking in for opportunities to either praise or redirect. So when you start any project with anyone, you need to let everyone know up front what you are going to do with them, how you are going to help them during the project, and the criteria for achieving success in that certain scenario. So you have to clearly document, preferably written, what the goals are and what kind of behavior is going to achieve those goals so that everyone is on the same page. You have to have them documented in some way so that there's no confusion to what's expected. And you also need to review them frequently because it's very rare for things to go accordingly to plan. Like, plans change all the time. Change is a constant, and so goals need to be pivoted and adjusted along the way. So most long-term goals need to be tweaked on a week-to-week basis to make sure that they still stay on track. And because things always change, you need to make sure that you're still on the right track and you're still taking the right approach to achieving that long-term goal. So when you do check in with the people that are involved and things are going well, praise the efforts that are being made. This is very simple. But when things aren't going well, that's when you offer a redirect. So keep in mind, this is not negative feedback. This is just redirecting the behavior that is happening so that you can both better orient yourself to succeed in this certain scenario. So ask them, what did you think was going to happen and what actually happened with this behavior in question? Basically, where exactly did things get off track? Because then you can address the specific behavior that didn't align with the overall goal. You are not criticizing the person, you are redirecting the behavior. So that's pretty much it for today. It was a quick and easy overview of internal expectations, company structures, project management, and delegation. So if you're interested in talking more or have any specific questions about what I covered today, book a call with me. I'd be happy to chat. And let's talk about the best way to get you on track, focused, and devoting time appropriately to these activities that will empower you to achieve your goals with a lot more joy and ease in the long run and in the short run. So we can use a multidisciplinary approach that will help you reach and maintain peak performance even during times of change. So I cannot wait to support you in your growth journey. And in the meantime, please join me for more of these Facebook Lives where I will be doing a deeper dive into each of these areas and providing practical tips, tools, and recommendations. I'll be jumping on tomorrow to talk about finances, business finances. And until then, remember that your authentic self is extraordinary, it is wonderful, and you owe it to yourself to create the elevated life that you know you are capable of. Take care, everyone. Bye.